Morning once again, and welcome back to TV3's New Day, and hopefully by now you're up and about and feeling the sunshine. We have a very special interview for you this morning, and I'll give certain credentials and then we'll get into our discussion. First off, her name is Professor Dr. Herta Dalblang-Memlin. She's former Minister of Justice, former Member of Parliament and Vice President for the Social Democratic Party in Germany, and also a law professor. Now the professor will be here in Ghana for the next few days to talk about rule of law and governance, and we're lucky enough to have her in our studios this morning to enlighten us a little bit more as well. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm lucky to be here in this wonderful country.
Are you enjoying Ghana so far?
Yes, I do, because Ghana has a very good reputation in Europe, and we know a bit about the very active civil society, youngsters, people with a high commitment, so I'm looking forward to the discussions I'll have here.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about what you know about Ghana and our reputation.
Well, you see, Ghana is some sort, as we call that, a model state for good governance. And we know quite well that it plays a really important role, not only in West Africa, but in Africa as a whole. Your president is going to Burkina Faso now.
That's right, yeah.
And other things, of course, like that. But we, of course, know as well that Ghana has a lot of economic problems and, let's say, problems to create the jobs for the young people, for wonderful kids you have next year. So it's interesting how you try to manage that and which form of governance you will, let's say, have and improve and all this.
Okay. In your years of experience and what the little you've seen of the way Ghana functions, would you say that we are effectively practicing rule of law?
Well, at least I would say Ghana tries very hard to do so.
Okay.
But the question, of course, is what do people wish if they think about rule of law? I think it's equality before the law.
Yeah.
And a good constitution. And then, most important, it's an independent and non-corruptive judiciary. Well, a professional one. And let's say the judges have to be appointed not after nepotism, but following the selection of the best. And I think they're, if you look into the indices of the World Bank or Mo Ibrahim Institute or others, you can see that, well, Ghana has been a bit better some years ago. So I think I learned that everyone is trying to improve.
Right. Okay. I actually like that. Okay, let's step back a little bit. Just for the people who may not be on the same pages at the moment watching us, could you just give us a brief definition of what rule of law is?
Well, rule of law means that every citizen is equal, and he and she can rely on their rights, that if they don't get their rights, that they have someone to go to. Meaning lawyers, meaning an independent judge, and the judge will not look whether this is an important guy or a normal citizen, but he will look whether he has been done wrong or not.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. And what should the relationship be between rule of law and governance?
Well, I think that, you see, power is a part of governance. Participation of the people, regular elections, well, brings people into power or parties into power.
Yes.
But rule of law means that power has to be controlled. Power has to be constitutional power.
Right.
And misuse of politics, meaning corruption or nepotism, cannot be tolerated. So judiciary and, let's say, public opinion, civil citizens have play a big role in that.
Okay, and from what you see in Africa as a whole, would you think governance and rule of law has become a bit better?
Well, hopefully. But I could say that Ghana plays, let's say, in the upper 10 league of, let's say, states in Africa that, let's say, really try to get a better rule of law and better good governance. And this, I think, is a good thing. So I only can congratulate you to the young people you have and the civil society you have, think tanks, people who are committed, journalists. This is what makes, let's say, a state better. that one has to improve one or the other thing. That's quite clear. We all know that.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. That's your congratulations to the people of Ghana from the professor herself. Now, what is it exactly that you're going to be doing here? I know you're going to be having some talks. Who are you going to be talking with? When will that happen?
Well, some politicians, some parties, and of course lots of young people, young leaders, young people who will teach me. Not only, let's say, I'll try to give them or transfer a bit of my experiences out of other cultures, but I'm often in China, I'm often in Asia, I'm often in the south of Africa. So there is a bit of comparison. What works well in other parts of the world, how do they manage with some problems here or there. This is what I'll be saying, and I'll learn about what the young people of Ghana, let's say, try to make out of their lives.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be a public lecture.
Yes.
Is that right? Let me just see, I've got some details here. So it would be the rule of law, good governance, and democratic consolidation in Ghana.
Yes, and control of corruption as well. What do we do against that?
Yeah.
You see, corruption is not only a problem of Ghana. It's a problem of all of Africa, as we know quite well, and it's at home, let's say, in Europe and other parts of the world as well. So there are some rules and some really good tools against, let's say, corruption or to fighting corruption. This we will be talking about.
Okay. And a little bird told me that you're deep into charity work as well. What kind of charity work do you do?
Well, you see, lots of it. I think that charity has to be a commitment for everyone who is living in decent living conditions, and I am living in Europe in fine conditions. So I'm looking, let's say, for people who are very sick, dying, the hospice system. I'm working with them, and of course I'm, let's say, helping the judges and citizen judges, as we have them, lay judges, and to do their job in a good way. This is what I'm doing.
Okay. Here's a very random question. What do you think about the fight against Ebola so far?
Well, hopefully we all will succeed. You see, I only can see how brave people in your neighbor countries are. And how brave, let's say, doctors from all around the world and nurses from all around the world are, let's say, are in fighting Ebola. I think that the world has, taken back too long, and we have to, let's say, reinforce the essays to fight Ebola. But I'm very happy that Ghana so far has not had an Ebola
cases,
case.
No, none at all, which is good for us.
Yes, of course.
Definitely. All right, I just want to just reiterate in regards to your function that will be taking place. So it's Tuesday the 5th of November. No, that's the wrong date. But you'll be giving it to, when's your next public lecture?
Tonight.
This evening?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this evening.
At the Center for Social Democracy.
Okay, and is there a charge?
Hopefully with lots of young people. Yeah.
This is what we're trying to get them to come along today.
Yeah.
So is there a charge for them to come along?
I don't think so.
No, it'll be free of charge. So if you do have the chance or the opportunity to go along, you can go and...
Please ask them to prepare for a lively discussion.
Well, there you have. You've told them yourself.
Wonderful. Yeah.
All right, so it'll be taking place this evening or this afternoon at 4:30?
This afternoon, I think at 4:30 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you do get along and go and have experience the professor's talk at the venue.